Ah, Battletoads. Growing up, it was one of the hardest games I have ever played. In fact, I needed a Game Genie to see most of the second half of the game. That's how difficult it was. But there was always this allure to the game that made me come back to it over and over like a sucker for pain. Enter 2020 Battletoads. Hey guys, it's Matthew, aka That Damn M, and I'm going to talk about this game in the form of a compliment sandwich. If you aren't aware of what that is, let me explain really quick. I'm going to talk about a good aspect of the game, talk about all the bad stuff, and end on another great aspect. But, spoilers ahead, the flavor of the sandwich is poop. Okay, so right off the bat, the absolute, hands down, best aspect of the game is the fighting. It wouldn't feel like a Battletoads game if you weren't able to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And surprisingly, the combat is a bit deeper than I would have initially thought. There's a means for crowd control using said bubblegum, stunning enemies with your tongue, and strategy in the fact that you need to prioritize which enemies you want to take out first. This is a ton of fun and leads to a lot of great situations for the combat to shine. And if you're a fan, you'll also be happy to know that the hoverbike sections have returned. But goddamn are they annoying. I get that they are part of the old games, but if you play on any difficulty other than Tadpole, you really feel the difficulty curve ramp up exponentially. And in what I can only assume to be a concentrated effort to increase the game's length without doing a ton of actual work, Battletoads features a ton of minigames. Practically more than a WarioWare game. Okay, not really, but it sure feels like it sometimes. And some of these minigames are better than others, but overall they're all bothersome. I mean, just look at some of this stuff. What even is that? And then there's this. What the ever-living hell is this? It reminded us of Guacamelee without all of the awesome parts of that game. If you're going to gimp us and only let us platform and solve puzzles, at least let us play as the titular Battletoads, for fuck's sake, not some stuffed animals. Now, you might be asking about how the writing, dialogue, and story are. Well, overall they are pretty bad.
My dump truck, you stinky wimps! Beep, beep! Garbage butt backing up! I hate the Battletoads.
Here's the plot, summarized best from Wikipedia. After being locked up in a fantasy simulator bunker for 26 years, the Battletoads are no longer intergalactic heroes and have fallen into modern-day obscurity, so they set out to once again defeat their old, long-time nemesis, the Dark Queen, to regain their fame. But when they confront the Queen, they end up teaming up with her to take down an evil alien race called the Topians, who have not only stolen the Queen's powers, but also were the ones who trapped the Toads in the bunker to begin with. As far as the dialogue, there are a few times that the game got a chuckle from me, but that's about it. I mean, it might be that I'm not the target demographic for this game, and that's okay, I suppose. Kids might actually enjoy this kind of dialogue, but for older fans, it doesn't really hit the mark. But, speaking of kids, I mentioned during our live stream on Twitch, which you can find a link in the description, that it seems like Rare and or Microsoft were trying to make a Nickelodeon cartoon out of this game. Especially given its art style, you can't tell me that this doesn't remind you of Saturday morning cartoons from the last 5 to 10 years.
I will do anything for you. Are you sure?
Yeah, man. I'm sure.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna punch you through the brain. Oh, God.
I love you so much.
And yes, I understand that from a general perspective, the core Battletoad fans are probably parents at this point and would want to share their love of the original game with their children without having to bust out their old NES hardware and controllers. Even still, I bet that those parents would be disappointed. They would probably go ahead and break out the NES immediately after playing this game to remedy the fact that this new Battletoads is such a disappointment. Oh yeah, and there's no online co-op as of this moment. In order to get footage for this, and in order to even play the game, Daniel and I had to use a third-party program called PARSEC, so huge shout out to the developers of PARSEC for allowing us to play this game. But realistically, how the hell is online co-op not supported in a game like this in 2020? It just doesn't make any sense. Funnily enough, a piece of dialogue in the game can be applied to Battletoads itself.
Basically, you're trash.
To finish up the compliment sandwich, let me just say that the soundtrack for this game absolutely rocks, and it fits the game like a glove, as you'll see at the end of this video. Okay, so taking a step back for a minute, maybe I've been a little too harsh on this game. But honestly, Battletoads fans deserve better. This game feels like it suffered from way too many people all trying to have a say in what they wanted the game to be, and the results ended up being this disjointed, mixed up series of different aspects of the game. There are a few flashes of absolute brilliance, but unfortunately they are intermixed with a ton of filler that ultimately does the game a disservice. If you set your expectations low, you might be okay. So do you guys agree with me? Do you disagree? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.